Welcome back, everybody, to the Bucs Planet Podcast. We're 2-0. Let's go. I'm fired up. I'm sorry I could not make a video. I should have made one after the Cowboys game. A lot of things happened. I was a little busy, a little preoccupied. But I'm making one now, and I understand this is even, the Rams, we're going to play the Rams tomorrow, because by the time I actually edit this video, filming this on Friday, so I might edit this for you people, because guess what? I have to have film analysis now in every video, or you people don't watch it, so I have to make a film analysis, I have to edit that, so by the time that thing gets edited, it's probably not even going to be until Saturday. It's probably not even be until Saturday. So you guys aren't going to see it until Saturday. But let's just recap. Let's just recap what's gone on so far, all right? So, first of all, 2-0. Okay, I don't even remember the last time we were 2-0. So Cowboys game, right? It was a little bit closer, probably a lot closer than a lot of people thought it'd be. I thought it'd be close, but a lot of people thought it'd be a blowout. I didn't really see it like that. Now the defense looks horrible. Now it looks horrible in comparison to the defense that we saw in the Super Bowl. It's not the same defense. It's not the same defense that we had in the playoffs. It's not. And it's like weird because we have the exact same players, but yeah, it's just not the same defense at all. The secondary looks absolutely atrocious. In fact, that's my two biggest concerns right now with the Bucs right off the bat. Secondary, running backs. I personally think the running backs are a little bit more of an issue than the secondary, but we can get into that. We'll get really into that later. So the thing about this team that's a lot different than last year's team that even I've noticed is the Bucs can beat you in the passing game now in multiple ways. We're very efficient now. Whereas last year, we weren't super good at the dinking and the dunking and the taking the underneath stuff and taking what the defense gives us. We weren't great at it. We're not great. This year we are great at it. In fact, if you go back and watch the tape, our best looks are when it is cover two and the safeties are deep, and then we can kind of take what's underneath. Little routes to Godwin, A.B. Evans, Gronk. Gronk's a monster. Let's get into that. So let's just get into that now. Gronk, man, he looks like a top 5 tight end. Top 5 tight end. It's unbelievable. It's not like he's just making these super easy kind of routine, like always wide open, like whatever. He's making some tough contested catches. He really does look like the Gronk of old, and that's what they kept trying to tell us in training camp. Like, look, he looks like the Gronk of old. And I was like, I didn't believe it. I believe it when I see it, and now I'm seeing it. 4 touchdowns in 2 weeks. 4 leads all tight ends. And it's just crazy to me how that happens. How he retired for a year. First of all, he's old, a lot of injury history. And then now all of a sudden it's just like guns ablazing. Here we go. Now, if you look at the stats of Bruce Arians' quarterbacks in their second year, it is a massive leap. In fact, every time a quarterback is in the second year of a Bruce Arians system, they are borderline MVP candidates every single time. Look at Carson Palmer, look at Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, right? Hall of Famers, right? We never got to... Not that I at all wish that we didn't get rid of Jameis, but I would have. It's kind of disappointing that we didn't get to see, because I would have been interested to see how Jameis would have done in the second year if he would have improved at all, right? Because Jameis is just not a good quarterback, obviously, but I would have been interested to see if there was any kind of improvement there. Obviously, glad you got signed Tom Brady, obviously, but so we never really got to see that, but. I thought Tom Brady would make a step in this offense, and a lot of people, I went on, I'm with my buddy Henry, right? We have another podcast called Doubleheader. I told him, he was like, he asked me point blank, he's like, look, do you think this offense will be better or worse this year? And I was like, it's going to be better. And he kind of laughed at me. I was like, look, second year in the offense, all the starters are back. The offense I thought was going to be better, and it is. Everyone called me crazy at the time. It's true. Tom Brady, what is he on pass for? 76 touchdowns. 76. That's what he's on track to do. Because he has 9 touchdowns in 2 games, and there's, 17 games down the season. Absolutely insane. Antonio Brown had a monster. He looked like vintage AB. in the Cowboys game. Now, Falcons game didn't do too much, which actually kind of surprised me because he's kind of owned the Falcons the last 2 times we played them. Um, but when Mike Evans didn't do too much in the Cowboys game, but then go to the Falcons game, AB didn't do too much, and then Mike Evans had a monster game, and it kind of shut up all some of you guys out there that don't really know too much, but yet you have very loud mouths on social media, and you're like, oh, Mike Evans is why he doesn't do anything anymore. I wasn't worried at all. Okay, I would have made a video on it last week that said I wasn't worried about it at all. And then what does he come out and do? He scores 2 touchdowns and decent amount of receiving yards. So was I surprised to see that? No, because he's a top 6, top 5 receiver in the NFL, and that's just how it is, right? There's just a lot of people on this offense that are going to catch the ball, that are good at it. So sometimes he's not going to have those monster games, right? But that's just how it is. He's always going to draw the number 1 corner. He's always going to be the number 1 receiver. Just how it is. And he's still good. So a lot of you people, kind of shut you guys up for a little bit, which is always nice. I always love when you people just get shut up for a little bit. And so let's address the fact that Sean Murphy-Bunting, right? So he got injured in the game, and the the Mr. August this year, right, was Ross Cockrell. He had all these interceptions in practice. His sister wins, or her sister didn't win, but his sister placed in the Olympics. That's cool. It's like cool. Obviously you have a pretty athletic family. But Mr. August, they're like, oh, Ross Cockrell, you gotta play him. He's so good. And then but the thing we forgot is that's training camp and preseason. So Ross Cockrell comes into the Cowboys game, gets absolutely burnt like a piece of toast, and then you're like, well, that was absolutely horrendous. And then it was so bad that the Bucs actually entertained the idea of signing a washed-up, trash Richard Sherman. Now, is this idea horrible? No. Now, do I like Richard Sherman at all? No. No, I don't. I hate his personality, misdemeanor issues, obviously, that's still outgoing currently, and he's not that good. So 3 things right there, right? But is he worse than Jamel Dean and Ross Cockrell? No, because you can't be worse than them. You can be as bad, but you can't be worse. So would I not? Here's the thing: would I jump off of the nosebleeds if we signed Richard Sherman? No, I wouldn't. Right? I remember that whole AB thing. I was like, don't sign, but then we did end up working out. Richard Sherman is kind of similar because he's kind of like the cornerback version of Antonio Brown, to be honest with you. But this I could not like I'd say get behind, but I'd be like, okay, like fine. That's what y'all thought you had to do. That's, the decision you made, fine, right? But again, at the same time, it really just goes to show you how bad Ross Cockrell is, right? I mean, gets absolutely exposed in the Cowboys game. Then you go to Atlanta, and it was just like, my goodness. I mean, he lets up that touchdown to Ridley. He gave up a couple big plays. He gave up, I think, a big play to Kyle Pitts. I can't remember who was on him on that. Well, one of them was kind of just like a fluky play, but and then one of them was a busted coverage that I think was Devin White's fault. But anyways, I mean, Cockrell looked horrible. I mean, he gets clearly targeted. I mean, it was like Hargraves is back on the team. It was obvious that teams, when we had Vernon Hargraves, because I think, again, you could make a case that he was probably one of the worst draft picks ever, and he was so bad that you could tell that other teams would game plan throwing to him, like throwing at whoever, he was supposed to be covering, right? And I saw it again in the Panthers game. They targeted him a ton, right? And I was going, oh, it was embarrassing last night, but I mean, I remember, I think I posted it, the clip of when Eli Manning, after they scored a touchdown, and they targeted Hargraves like probably 8 times on the drive, and it's 8 first downs, and Eli Manning's on the sidelines, and he's like, that's what we were doing. We said we're throwing at 28 all day on 28. He's like high-fiving Odell on the sidelines. And I'm sitting here thinking, is that how bad he is, that they just sit there and they go on the game plan? And anyway, that's kind of another rabbit hole that we've already gone way too much into. And it's not our problem anymore, which is nice. In fact, what's funny? Just get a little sidetracked here. So I was watching the Texans-Panthers game last night, and obviously I wanted the Texans to win because Panthers are 2-0. And they're going to be 3-0 because Texans suck. And then we're playing the Rams, where we actually could probably lose that one, right? Like 50-50 chance. Maybe, we're underdogs, so, easy chance we lose that game. And I was like, so we're going to be 2-1 hypothetically, and they're going to be 3-0. They're winning. We don't want the Panthers to be leading our division. That's ridiculous. And so, I did cheer for the Texans, but I mean, it was kind of fun, a little bit, watching Sam Darnold had absolutely torch Lovie Smith's sorry excuse for a defense. And I know he doesn't have any players. It doesn't matter if he had players or not. I mean, it's the scheme. Some of the stuff they were running was the same stuff he ran with us. Because Lovie Smith's shell, right? So in defense, the shell, right, is kind of like your base package, right? So it's like, what is like your defense defined by that you're mostly in, right? It's called the shell. Okay. Lovie Smith's shell is 2 high safeties. Everybody plays deep, give up all the crap under the middle. You run slants the whole game. You win by 50 points. And it was the same thing. In fact, I played right to Hargraves' speciality, which is playing 10 yards off the ball and then still getting burnt. And I was just sitting there watching, and, Troy Aikman's like on the booth. He's like, well, they're in the 2 high shell again, and this is what they run, and they don't care about, they're not going to be aggressive. Like, this is just what Lovey does. And then, 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, guys out of position, 15 yards, blown coverage, 20 yards, touchdown. Boom, done, easy, thank you. It was a little bit. I liked it a little bit, not a lot, because the Panthers won, but a little bit. All right, sorry. So, anyways, Ross Cockrell, Vernon Hargraves. Okay, so now we're talking about Cockrell just as bad. And again, the Richard Sherman thing's still a possibility. It's not like we just shut down this idea. This is still kind of an ongoing thing that, we don't know. Look, here's the deal. If Carlton Davis goes down, we're completely screwed. Completely. Because Jamel Dean's bad too. But Jamel Dean is every now and then will kind of have some good coverage. Russ Cockrell will never have good coverage, but if you put Jamel Dean on like an actual number 1 receiver, then that could be good. Now, Carlton Davis has actually played well. A lot of people are like, he's played that. Carlton Davis played well. Okay? Now, does he play well every single play? No. But, he's caused some tips. He's had a couple interceptions. I mean, he caused one of the Mike Edwards pick sixes, which we'll get into. Mike Edwards, absolute beast of a player, because I have a solution to the secondary fix. I'll tell you in a second. And, I mean, I lost my train of thought. What's his name? Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis has played well. I mean, he kept Amari Cooper in check. Every time Amari Cooper had a big play, it was usually on, Cockrell or Dean or Sean Murphy Bunting, the usual suspects in terms of getting burnt. And, Davis has played well, but there is good news. There is good news, right? So the strategy on how our defense can be competent, okay, was very evident in the second half of in the fourth quarter of the Falcons game, when we just kind of, laid it on them a little bit, right? And this is how you do it. You put Mike Edwards at slot corner, and you make sure that Ross Cockrell never sees the field, right? So, Ross Cockrell's sister was running in Japan where the Olympics were. He needs to be over there relatively to where the field is, okay? That's how far away he needs to be from the field. It's so bad watching him play. And here's the thing. We put Mike Edwards at slot corner in the fourth quarter, 2 pick sixes. Thank you. Now, obviously, he's not going to get 2 pick sixes every game, probably ever again in his entire career. But he actually was covering people. Now, one of them, right? We saw one of them where Carlton Davis, it was a blitz. Carlton Davis and Mike Edwards weren't blocked, and Carlton Davis tips the pass, and it was almost like slow motion. It hung in the air for about 30 minutes, and then right into Mike Edwards' hands, like walked into the end zone. But the first pick six Mike Edwards had was just flat out good coverage. I mean, he's like all over the tight end, tips the ball to himself, intercepts it, touchdown. That's what you like to see, right? That's something that Cockrell just can't do. Mike Edwards has had a great training camp, great preseason. He's actually playing good in the games. He needs to be at slot corner and not Ross Cockrell. Because let me explain to you something. We're playing the Rams on Sunday with Cooper Kupp, who just snapped 2 touchdowns, over 150 yards receiving, I'm pretty sure, and Robert Woods, right? If either one of those receivers at any point are on Ross Cockrell, that's 6. That's 6. The band's playing. I mean, if I'm watching the game on Sunday and I see Cockrell, just relative, like clearly, like before the play, he's going to be covering one of those two receivers. The band should already start playing. I don't understand there's no band in the NFL. But should already start playing. The band's playing 6 point. That's what it is. That's what it's going to be. And it's not going to be good for us because the Rams defense is really good. And, we can't be matching all these, like, Ross Cockrell blown coverage touchdowns. So, put Mike Edwards in there. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, okay? That's just kind of how it is for a whole game. But you got to try it because we know what we're getting with Cockrell, and it's going to be 6. What we're getting with Cockrell is 6. And not pick 6, giving up 6. So we don't want 6 unless it's pick 6. Okay, otherwise, so should we be concerned? A lot of people ask me, should we be concerned about the pass rush? Yes, a little bit. I'm a little concerned about the pass rush because they've gotten 2 sacks in 2 games. Okay, that's not very good. Now, to be fair, they played 2 good quarterbacks. Matt Ryan, it was Dak Prescott dinks and dunks. That's just what he does. He gets the ball out fast. He dinks and dunks. A lot of people were like, oh, he looks amazing, the deep look. I don't understand. I was at that game. He dinked and dunked the whole time. He threw 2 or 3 passes that were deep, and they were nice ones. I mean, when you have Jamel Dean covering you and he's not within 30 yards of the play, or Ross Cockrell, is it really that much skill? Probably not. But Dak Prescott pretty much is the same quarterback he's always has been. He's just a dink and dunk guy. And for some reason, we just refuse to match our defense to that by doing press man or anything. A lot of that had to do with Sean Murphy-Bunting's injury, of course, but because Sean Murphy-Bunting's really good at man press, but and then you get Cockrell in there, and Cockrell's not really good at anything. And so Dak Prescott, who's a dink and dunk quarterback, doesn't throw down the field too much, and gets the ball out quickly, so you can kind of understand why he's not going to get sacked. And then Matt Ryan's kind of similar, but Matt Ryan's not even athletic. He can't even roll out. And there were several times we were like inches away from a sack, and something stupid would happen, like you guys have probably seen when Joe Tryon was about to sack him, and then Vita Vea accidentally falls on Joe Tryon's legs, and he falls over, and nobody sacks him. It was super annoying. It was a little inexcusable to not sack Matt Ryan more than once in that game. A little bit. And so basically, Joe Tryon's looked good, and he's going to get the start, right? Jason Pierre-Paul and Antonio Brown, they're not playing. Antonio Brown, slight chance to play, just to test negative twice, out like twice, not in 24 hours. But JPP's out, so Joe Tryon's gonna get the start. Not super concerned about that because I think Joe Tryon is going to be good and do a good job. So again, the defense. How do you fix it? You got to put Edwards in the slot. You got to do it. There's some things in life you got to do. That's one of the things you got to do, right? And the issue with Sean Murphy-Bunting getting injured is this defense has kind of gone away from its true identity of blitz you, man press, balls to the wall kind of strategy, because we can't really do man press with Cockrell and Dean in very prominent roles because they'll get burnt too quickly. And so hopefully when we get Edwards in there, we can kind of go back to our true identity of a man press blitz defense. All right, so we talked about, I talked about it. So Brady again, I mean, 44, he looks insane. This might be seriously, he looks in it like he's in his prime, and you hear it on all these talk shows, is he in his prime? I mean, I guess. I mean, he's better right now than so many he's a top 2 quarterback in the league. And honestly, he's probably the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, okay, sure. It's because this debate gets so annoying to me because they always say, well, it's about like athletic ability, right? So it's about like running, how strong can you throw like 50 yards like Patrick Mahomes can while like falling down and diving. Like, no, like Tom Brady can't do that, right? But leadership has a lot to go into quarterback accuracy, right? Going through reads. Now, Patrick Mahomes great, right? But I honestly would rather have Tom Brady. If you said, well, for this year only, you have the field. Pick whatever quarterback you want. I pick Brady. I do. He looks insane. He's so smart. He's the smartest player in the league right now. That's what I think separates him. It's not just the fact that his arm is still a rocket arm and still can do all the same throws as he was able to do in his like 20s. It's not just that, right? It's the fact that he's now been doing this for so long. He knows everything, right? He knows all of it. And I think he's the best quarterback, honestly, in the NFL currently. Currently. Okay, because a lot of you guys, I shouldn't have brought this up. I told myself, I said, Will, don't bring it up, I'm bringing it up. A lot of you guys, I don't know if you think you're funny or if you don't understand anything about life or NFL, you probably should stop watching. You like to text me and you like to swipe up. You're like, well, Dak Prescott's better than Tom Brady. I mean, people are like, Dak Prescott's better than Tom Brady. I'm sitting there, I'm like, I mean, you don't even deserve to have an opinion on anything if that's what you think. And there's some guy on ESPN said too. I'm like, you should get fired immediately. And it's ridiculous because some of you guys don't really understand anything. And look, you could maybe say Aaron Rodgers better just because he's a reigning MVP, right? That's like fair. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, okay, cool. The rest is just like not even acceptable at this point. Like if you seriously think that Dak Prescott's better than Tom Brady, then there's great psychologists out there. You can probably look up local ones. If you're in college, the schools have psychologists for you. Probably go hit them up in an email. Maybe if you go to FSU, which I can just go ahead and maybe drop the link to that psychologist in the description. Anyways, Tom Brady's the best. And that's all I got to say. I mean, that's just what I got to say. 9 touchdowns, 2 games. Now, obviously, in terms of longevity, you'd be like, I'd rather have Mahomes or rather have all these other guys. Yeah, sure. Like, I get that makes sense. But we're talking about right now this year only. I like Brady. I just like him. He looks great. He looks fantastic. I love him. And the leadership, the smartness, the way he audibles, it's just beautiful. So, I've got a surprise for you people today, even though some of you don't really deserve it, to be honest. But I've got a little bit of a surprise for you today. So, the running backs. The running backs, right? So I've got a little bit of a Ronald Jones film analysis on why I think he's the worst running back in the NFL so far. They are both, Ronald Jones and Fournette make me want to jump out of a window. They are both so bad. They are both awful, right? So Fournette should get the start, right? I said it should be Ronald Jones, and it should have been at the time, but now he's been so awful. Again, right? Fumble in the Cowboys game, gets benched. Then comes in and plays. He played so bad in the Falcons game that I honestly don't even think he would make an NFL roster if that's how he just played for the rest of his career. And I'm going to show you those plays I'm talking about. But then even Fournette, it's like right when you're like, okay, Ronald Jones sucks. Okay, that's a little bit of a whiff of a pick by Jason Light, a little bit, tiny bit. And it looks like his career and tenure in Tampa is kind of over because this is a contract year. And you're like, all right, we're giving it to Fournette. He had the little drop thing last week that ended up being a pick. Okay, but it's like, all right, we finally are going to give it to Fournette. Then he fumbles. And Fournette almost lost us the game. A lot of people don't remember. Fournette fumbled the ball, and Chris Godwin performed the greatest play so far of the season, which was to recover the ball, to get the ball out of bounds on the fumble. I mean, it was like, oh, okay, fine, then we're going to get Fournette. Fournette's not great, but he's clearly going to be the guy, okay? Catches the ball, he fumbles in our own territory, and we had to rely on a super heads-up play by Chris Godwin to get that ball out of bounds instead of the Falcons recovering it, because that was really a 50-50 shot if he was going to recover that. Chris Godwin and the Falcons defender were both right there. Chris Godwin just had made a better play on it. It's so frustrating because you're like, well, it's going to be Fournette, but he hasn't done anything to deserve it. He's just done less wrong than Ronald Jones. That's just at the end of the day, that's what it is. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Fournette caused an interception and he's fumbled. Well, Ronald Jones just fumbled. So why do you keep saying that Ronald Jones is worse? I'm going to show you why, right? And we're probably going to start that, right now. So enjoy. It's only going to be a few plays. So you don't have to be like, oh, here we go. Will's filming it. No. It's going to be a few plays. I'm going to show you why Ronald Jones is the worst running back in the NFL currently. Could get better, but currently, so far, he's the worst running back in the NFL. I'm going to show you that right now. All right, so first up here, we're going to have a pass out to Ronald Jones. And here's the problem with Ronald Jones. He's playing timid. Okay, and that's probably the biggest concern you can have as a football player. You do not want to play timid. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. So we're going to go ahead and roll the clip here. So as you'll see, Ronald Jones get out in the flat right there. And here's the thing. Pause that right there. Let's watch this here. Okay, the first down marker is right here. All right. So he clearly can get it, right? So when you look at this angle, he clearly can at least run like maybe over here, lower shoulder, right? You're a football player, okay? So let's go ahead and remember that. And let's see what he actually does, right? That might look like he got the first down. He did not. In fact, it wasn't even close. He got a solid yard before the first down marker. Do you realize how inexcusable this is for a running back? To do this and to just be afraid of contact. Do you understand your profession, Ronald Jones? It's called being an NFL football player, okay? Not a dancer, not a little soccer player, a football player. And you're a second-round draft pick, lower your shoulder and get the first down. Piss me off. I mean, because here's the issue with it. I'm going to explain to you what happens then on the next play, which is actually borderline even worse than this one. I mean, what is this? NFL football player, afraid of contact. This is a first down. And he purposely, like, look at it. He's in stride, and in this step right here, he's like, oh, no, I don't want to get touched. I'm a little pansy soccer player. Ridiculous. All right, so here we go. Play number 2 here, which is, by the way, this play is directly after the first, the play we just saw. Okay, so this is, the first play, just to refresh your memory, some of you aren't that smart, it was the pass out to Ronald Jones, and he gets out of bounds 1 yard before the first down, even though he easily had it, but he's a little soccer player and he's afraid to get hit. Right, so here we have now drawing up the 2nd and 1 scenario. That shouldn't even be a thing, right? And I'm sorry for the quality is a little bad. Wi-Fi is sometimes a little inconsistent over here. And let's see what this is, right? So this is just a normal old, just 2nd and 1, just a run. It's to the A gap, so we're supposed to be running right here. These guys are going to plow their guys. I think it's either right here or right here. I can't remember. We're supposed to run, but it's either, in this gap or this gap. And it's, just going to be, an open hole, right? Just go ahead and get the first down, right? So let's go ahead and watch the tape. All right, so get the handoff. Bounce outsides. I'm afraid of contact. All right, so what just happened there? It's 2nd and 1. And so I was actually wrong. So it looks like the C gap here was actually what he was supposed to do. So we got Wirfs blocking out here. Johnson comes on the inside, picks up the DB, it looks like. Is that a DB or a line? But that's a DB, I think. And let's see here. Ronald Jones, boom. Do you see this? This is called a big hole in the NFL. This is big in the NFL. Okay? And you need 1 yard. So, by the way, the yard line's about right about here again. Sorry about the quality right here. Oh, he just needs to run forward. But what does he do? What does Ronald Jones do? Look at this. Oh, I'm going to go outside because this is scary right here. This is scary. It's, a lot of bodies, a little afraid of contact. Kind of scared, don't want to be a football player today. Let me bounce outside. Forget that I'm not Barry Sanders. Boom. Didn't even get a yard. And, he did on the next play, granted, because the coaches were like, can you run forward, please, and stop being a wuss? Basically is what I would imagine they're saying. Because this is unacceptable right here. On 2nd and 1, when it's clearly just a run up the middle type play, and to have the vision to say, I don't want that hole because, scared. And then you bounce outside and gain nothing. Unacceptable football. Unacceptable. The issue with Ronald Jones, honestly, is that when he starts playing bad, he doesn't bounce back like this individual right here. He kind of spirals, right down the tubes. And that's going to be very evident on this play right here. So this is maybe this actually might be more important than not fumbling. In fact, this is how big this is right here. It's called pass blocking. When you have a quarterback that's 44 and basically has to carry a defense to a Super Bowl, like he might have to this year if they don't start picking it up. This is how you get fired at your job as a running back. Roll the tape. That's inexcusable. Pretty much everything I've shown is inexcusable. I can nitpick. I can go and show you pretty much every snap he played in this game, and it was bad every single time. I picked the 3 most inexcusable plays, and they're honestly interchangeable about which one was the worst play. It really is. But this one you could certainly, like the other 2, make the case that this is the worst one. I mean, you talk about lack of awareness. Again, playing timid. He wants no part of Deion Jones. No part of it. I mean, like, what does this say if I'm Ronald Jones? Let's just go through it. Let's just go through it. All right, here we go. Snap the ball. See a linebacker running. Don't want any part of that. Going to let my quarterback get sacked. Kind of tuck my tail between my legs. Know it's my fault. Right? Don't want to get hit. Kind of scared. Wish I played soccer. That's what that shows me as a coach. If I'm a coach, that's what it shows me. And year 3, right? This is year 3 of Ronald Jones, or year 4. It's year 3 or 4. He has to understand this, because it's not even just he didn't understand his assignment. I mean, it kind of was, because he got way too close to Capo right here, instead of kind of staying where he was supposed to in his actual lane, and he kind of gets beat off the thing. But I mean, if Tom Brady gets injured on this play right here, hypothetically, I can tell you what, there's going to be pitchforks and riots in front of this man's house. Because this can only, the coaching staff will not allow this to happen. It's embarrassing, first of all, and it's just sad that you're in your third or fourth year and you still don't know how to do anything like this. I mean, this is how. I mean, I could put this on a loop all day. I mean, it's sad. He's playing like he's the worst running back in the NFL currently. That's what it is. And it's hard to watch. And I know the coaching staff agrees, which is why Leonard Fournette is most likely going to be starting. Not that he did anything to earn it at all. He just doesn't do this on a regular basis. And I mean regular. This is not good. This is called playing timid, playing stupid, and playing bad all at once. And I'm very concerned about the running back situation. I campaigned for Najee Harris to pick him. He wasn't there when we were there. And, honestly, Joe Tron's a great pick, but this is why. This is why I think we should have picked a running back in the first round. I'm glad that we didn't, because both of the good ones were gone, but this was my thought process. This is unacceptable football. Unacceptable. All right, well, that's enough Ronald Jones slander for the day. That's enough Bucs running back slander for the day. And again, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Again, Rams on Sunday for you people. It's probably gonna be tomorrow, right? Because I think this is gonna come out on Saturday by the time I finish editing. So you guys need to be watching this. You need to be taking notes. You need to be doing what you need to be doing so you can be prepared for the massive game on Sunday. I can't wait. I'm going to be watching the game in Tallahassee, to go, wrong side, Super Bowl champs. Yes, sir. You guys like my flag? Hope so. They gave it to all the season ticket holders. A little bit of a flex, a little bit. And I'm fired up. Okay, you should be fired up too. This is probably, I think, well, we play the Bills. So this and the Bills game are going to be the hardest regular season, kind of non-division games we play. We do play at the Patriots next week, but that's going to require multiple videos. The hype to that game is going to be absolutely insane. But in terms of skill, the Rams are going to be really good. The Rams are probably, us and the Rams are the best teams in the NFC. So it's going to be it could be a potential NFC championship preview. Don't want to say any of that, though, because you have to earn it first. You have to always earn it first. So don't want to say any of that. But we're definitely at this time probably the best 2 teams in the NFC. So it's going to be a good one. All right, so you gotta watch, you gotta cheer on the team, and I will see you guys next time. Go Bucs.